Now that we've looked at this one technique on the organ process, there's a second part. Once we establish the initial perceptive experience, there's a second part, which is the add-in. And sometimes I call this the add-in near-field effect. And this is something really exciting for all of us to consider, because this part here, it's what is going to probably really impact you much more. The add-in near-Earth effect. What is this about? Well, it's about the sense of what has the strongest gravitational pull, or what is the strongest influencing factor for you as an individual. Now, we have to be really sensitive to this, to kind of calibrate ourselves to this, because this is the key element where every single orbit that goes around you operates. And this is one thing really, really important, oftentimes missed out by many individuals, leaders, and coaches as well, is to have this idea of how do we create this space where your inner circle influence feels most comforted and it feels safe to be who they are, and they don't feel like, oh, there's a distance between the coach and who I am, right? They feel that, okay, the coach is up there in the sky, right? I'm here. So someone, there was one time someone just told me, say, Jedi, I feel that the coach is up here and I'm just down here. And then I said, okay, then probably the coach need to reattend coaching one more time, right? The role of the coach is not here and the client is here. Neither is the role of the coach here and the client is here, right? The role of the coach and the client are on the same level. They are on the same plane because they are having this co-creative conversation, which is going to be critical when we talk about the add-in effect. Now, when we go to the add-in effect, there's something very important for us to consider, what we call creating a safe space for the people. Now, safe space is something that it's not easy to do, but it's something that we need to put effort in. We cannot just say, oh, let's create a safe space. Recently, there was one interesting trainer, one interesting young, I would say, maybe, not really young, but a very rather senior trainer as well, who actually shared, they just said, oh, this is what we're going to do in our coaching process, right? I'm just going to tell the client, okay, client, this is a safe space. Okay, it's a safe space. You can, I'm not going to interfere whatever you say. This is a safe space. So all he's just doing is just saying, this is a safe space. Now, saying it's a safe space doesn't mean it's a safe space. In fact, the more you say it's a safe space, the less it becomes a safe space, right? So now think about this. If I come to you, I come to Patricia and say, Patricia, we're going to have a conversation today. But I tell you first, this is a safe space. I'm not going to share it. It's very safe, very safe. Touch my heart, touch your heart, it's going to be safe. The more I say this, the less she's going to feel comfortable, right? So the idea of safe space is not in what we say, it's in how we create the environment for the client to be honest and to be truthful. And sometimes, if you've been to one of the things that, or some of the conferences I run in here in Southeast Asia as well as in Russia, sometimes I shared with coaches this idea of the hot space. Right? How to have honest, open, and transparent conversation with everyone, being a very, very comfortable area for all of us to be open, right? And this helps us in one thing. It helps us to create this idea of our orbital influence. So we have the organ, we have the add-in. Now we're going to create this orbital influence. And this orbital influence has many different rings. I call them the orbital rings. Now, the orbital rings doesn't have to just be 3, but I'm just going to use 3 rings as an example. Right? You could have 4 rings, you could have 5 rings. Now, all this depending on every individual context here. In the innermost ring, it's about who we are, what we create. In the middle ring, it's about what I create. And the outer ring, it's about how others are observing me, what I do. So visually, this is how it looks like. You have the inner circle, which is, you see the little dot there, that's me, that's you, that's all of us there. That's your values, your belief, your personality, who you are as an individual. Now, your first initial influence, right there, your first circle, that is your inner orbit. You have your middle orbit and your outer orbit. Outer orbit is where influence is outwards, how people are perceiving you. Inner, it's more controlled. So at the inner core, it's who I am. Who am I, right? I'm trying to discover, this is who am I. At the outer core, it's you're telling people who I am. Right. Some of us post on LinkedIn or post on YouTube, post on any other platform and say that this is who I am, right? And you're telling the world this is who I am. But at a deeper core, when you have intimate sessions with your clients, with your community, with your raving fans, it's about who am I? It's about allowing that space for the clients and for your fans to get to know who you are. And you see this, the first phase of the inner orbit is about the add-in near-field effect. It's about what is the strongest pull to your most raving fans. And the outer part, it's where we draw in new clientele, we draw in new eyeballs, we draw in new people to get to know us, to get to encounter us. So I like to say that the innermost orbit, it's what we create. The word we is important. It's about creating, not just I create, but creating with your clients, creating with your community, creating with people. In ICF Malaysia chapter, I know that the MCC Live was not created overnight. It was a brainchild of one of the previous presidents, and it's created by we. It's not individual, but we as a collective, we in ICF Malaysia. And at the outer circle, it's what I create, how people get to know me. And the outer circle is what I do. That's how people get to know me, what I do, right? Now, how does this all tie in? I'm going to give us a simple example here. At the inner circle, we can say these are the lives impacted by my coaching, my the way I engage with people or whatever that I do. I have my close community of people that I work with, my raving fans, my thought leadership when I go keynote speaking or whichever, but whatever I create together with the organization at the inner circle. At the middle circle, it's about my inner circle community. It's about for example, if you're running a coach training, it's about how you build the community together, right? How do we bring people together? If you look at the ICF chapters around the world, they are the inner circles, right? How do we draw people together? It could be your paid programs, it could be your coaching programs, it could be anything that you do. At the outer circle, it could be things like keynotes. These are more passive items. These are more of things that you put out there. Articles, YouTubes, LinkedIn, your social media presence, your books, everything that you do. That's how people get to know you, right? So when you look at all this, let me show you in a visualization. You can do something like this, right? Where you could have all the different images. At the outer circle, what I have, I've my YouTube channel where I help coaches around the world. Some coaches who are not able to afford coaching, they come and watch my YouTube videos. Some coaches who cannot afford coach training, they watch the YouTube videos because it's free for them to watch. In fact, I have coaches from around the world telling me that they use my videos to help them pass their ACC, PCC credentialing, which is great news, right? And I love that to hear. And articles that are available for people to watch and webinars that I do, they're all to help support the larger community at large. That is the outer rim. The inner rim, I have the smaller communities where we run specific training, specific coaching, specific mentoring for the individual at the inner circle. So what we're going to do here is we're going to learn how to create our own orbital influence.